Welcome back. It's Afterthought. Pastor Stan and Dia with us. My name's Justin. We are getting started on our new vision series, which is just called Hope Multiplied. Now, what a lot of people won't know is that we've been using this term in the background for quite some time.
I bet people have picked it up.
Do you think they have?
No.
No. I mean, hope is one of those, it's out there in the ether somewhere. And essentially what we're going to do is try and anchor that thought for people. Hope is this thing that Christians are told to have. You know.
Well, Don't you have a hope?
Well, I hope so.
I hope you do. I think you do. A little hope.
We'll be back next week.
Think about words that the church uses today.
Yeah.
There's so many of them that are passé or become Christianese or are irrelevant and meaningless to people outside the church.
Sure.
But hope is something that everyone needs and wants. No one wants to feel hopeless and things like that. So I really love that word hope. And then we talk about multiplied. But
that's a great place to start. No one wants to be without it. So you know when you don't have it.
Yes.
Is the point.
Yes.
And possibly easier to identify when you don't have it.
Yeah, and that's where the series is actually going to begin. It's going to be a 4-week series. And we're going to talk about what is hope and where we might find hope. And we might investigate some of the places that we look for hope and come away feeling hopeless. But then essentially, here's the spoiler. We're going to find out that our true hope is anchored in Jesus. And without Jesus, there actually is no hope.
Well, look, it's been a great series, so hopefully you've enjoyed all that, and we'll catch you.
Did you say hopefully?
Hopefully.
Us possessing hope is not enough. And my passion, what wakes me up every day, what I really get excited about is multiplying that. We've got a hope, and we want to be sharing that hope so that others can have hope.
So who was that for you? Who was the person that expressed sort of hope to you? Maybe we're going back to that time where Jesus, where your faith was anchored and you said, yes, I'm going to trust Jesus with my life, which I think teenage years for you, a similar story.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, and remembering, wouldn't be able to tell you who the person was, but I just remember others in my life. I had an auntie. She was my cute little auntie. She's passed on since then. She was only like 4 foot. She was just a tiny little
4
thing.
foot and fierce.
But she always encouraged me in the faith. And and I didn't care about it then. I thought she was just, little pious Aunt Jo. Her name was Jo.
Pious Aunt Jo.
And she would give me books that encouraged hope in my life, Grace Livingston Hill, it's a really old name in Christian circles, used to write Christian romance novels, and I had never read them.
I've read a lot of those. So
Did you really?
Stan?
Yeah.
I remember that scene where Rob fell in love with Sally.
Yes, isn't that anyways.
No.
But, she would do that and send cards and little things like that, and just always remembered me. So I think hope is found in relationship.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. Our hope that we multiply is building relationships with others so that they can have a relationship with Jesus, and that's how hope is multiplied.
I still think that I always come back to as big as we want to make our faith community, Jesus had 12 guys, and one of them didn't listen. And 3 of them were close, and one of them was the closest. And I still think if you can walk with one person, you're doing what you've been tasked to do.
Yeah.
And I find hope in that too, because where hopelessness comes from is where failure is whispered into your ear. And I know that we've got a few words we want people to grab a hold of.
We do.
Yeah.
We
so
do.
throw them at us.
And really, that's going to unpack for the church. By the way, this is actually a vision series. This is talking about who we are as a church and where we want to be. And when we talk about hope multiplied, we need a strategy to get there.
Yep.
And the strategy it encompasses, I think it's 5 words here. We've got the experience. What do people experience when they come to WBC? But even, and we're going to talk about in the series, more importantly, what do people experience by being connected to you? When they look at your life, what is their experience? What is their take on Jesus because of the way you live your life and the way you treat them and you're in relationship with them? So that's experience. And then we talk about equipping people. Before equipping, we talk about engagement.
Yeah.
Because people, church is so different these days. Back when I was a kid, people attended church. That's just what everybody did. Society, that was a norm in society. Everything else was shut down in the mornings and stuff. So that
was the thing that the culture did on Sunday morning.
But see, now you don't measure any longer by attendance, because society is a 24/7 society. What we really look for and want to measure is engagement. When we talk about hope being multiplied, really, we want people not to just experience what we are on about here at WBC and what we're on about in our lives as followers of Jesus, but we want them to engage with it. And we're going to unpack, when we talk about that, we're going to talk about what does it look like to actually engage. And we've got some things that we believe are markers in a believer's life that will tell if they're engaging or not. So that's a couple of the words. I don't know, you don't want them all right now.
No. You got to have something up your sleeve. Short sleeves that they are. Oh! Did you see that? There was a flex there.
Welcome to the gun show.
That's such a... I think that's where the phrase "boys will be boys" comes from.
I heard last week that all men, at some level, just revert back to teenager right away. Just boom.
Well, I think girls do the same thing, don't they? You go back. There's a reverting thing going on there, don't you?
Things are running through my head.
Can I just say to my wife, who I will name Jodie Gall, your doll collection, sister. The one you've still got.
Wow, he's letting us a secret.
I think that means something to someone.
I go, what are these doing here? They're so special to her, and I don't understand. Anyway, thanks for listening. So faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. That's Hebrews chapter 11, and you can go through all of the great characters of faith and the flaws of the people of faith. And I think, again, this seems to be a thing that over and over again we talk about in our churches. We're quite okay to talk about the flaws. And our last series was called Rebuilding, Rising from the Rubble, right?
Yeah.
But talking about the flaws is really important. But hope is kind of it's a horizon thing. It's a look to the hills from where comes your help. But how do we stop it from being so far away that we can't grasp it? Is that
I think that's the thing, because like when we walk with Jesus, it's a faith to faith thing. So we often don't see so far ahead. Things are running through my head, so I'll just dump them on you.
Just go.
When we were visiting in Asia a few years ago, there was in Asia, a lot of the footpaths are curvy. And that's so that you can't see too far ahead or too far behind, because if we look back, we get discouraged. And if we try to see too far ahead, the pathway seems too long. And so often the path will be curved, and that's why. But hope is that
But so it's like a cultural ethos. It's in the architecture of the places.
And see, I experienced that with her, and I didn't even know that.
He was just annoyed they weren't straight. Guys, there's such a more economical way to do this.
The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Anyway, that's a beautiful insight. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Why didn't you share that with me when you realized it?
Anybody else? This is the romance novel. Now they kiss.
Yeah. So, no, because we did what?
There was nothing. Did you see that? You need more romance in your life, guys.
So why did you name a kid Hope?
Oh.
Insight. I want some.
Did you see that? I said, this is a moment to kiss, and she diverted. Why do we name a kid Hope? One of children's names, this is a whole other conversation, but worth it, because there's a few couples in our congregation about to find kids in their lives. Why don't I name my children Hope? Well, naming children is a big deal, as you know. When we found out we were having a daughter, that was one of those moments where anybody that doesn't know us, we had 3 sons, and then we had twins, and a boy and a girl. So no, they're not identical. You don't have to ask that question when they're in a boy. We still get asked that question. No, one's a boy, one's a girl. Anyway, but no, our daughter's name is Hope Juliet, and I think it was almost. I'm going to say it was Jodie's call. And you know what it was? Actually, yes, it was. Because she'd always... It's that thing that girls do that boys don't know that girls do in their childhood. They think about what their family is going to look like, who their partner's going to be, and what their children are going to be named. And she said, I always wanted a girl named Hope. So I actually think it was a theme for Jodie's life, and it just made sense to us that she represented something. And again, sometimes when you name a child, you feel like you're putting a bit of burden on their shoulder because the name is carrying an identity, and hope is a very specific thing.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, well, in a sense, yeah. And, my name means just and upright, which means
That's a little bit of pressure.
which means I'm really judgmental. I do apologise. But hopefully I have justice in me.
And you're always just in time.
Oh. And that's where the crickets go. Yeah, so that's why. But hope is an aspirational thing, but it's also something that we can touch. And I can say certainly the father to daughter relationship blows me away. It's one of those ones that I feel something different. And I love you boys.
Huh?
But Hope's cuddles are different, it's that, and I see it with Jodie and the boys too. So it's one of those connections.
Wow.
But I think that there's something tangible about that human relationship that gives you the idea of hope.
Yeah.
And
I bet you have hopes for hope.
totally.
Like we do, and like God has hope. I mean, our hope is in God, but just wanting to see her thrive and be a beautiful grown-up woman someday and with a good life and things like that. And don't we find, I mean, our hope in following Christ, God wants the same thing for us. He wants us to grow up in Him and trust Him and have that relationship with Him. And anyways, so I'll just leave it at that.
You can just drop the mic at that point.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But so faith is being sure of what we hope for, and we want to multiply that hope.
Yeah.
And we're saying essentially we want to build strong relationships. Kingdom
Exactly.
relationships, yeah.
Exactly. And it really, it's going to be the whole Warren Peter thing about sharing about that hope that lies within you. When people ask,
I have an answer.
I have
is
an
what he said.
Always be ready to give an answer. But it's the place we get tripped up with this hope thing is it's future, and that requires faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. So anyway, I'm excited about the series.
It'll be fun.
I think we're sitting here excited just talking about it. I hope you're excited about it. I hope you're encouraged by it. And that's an afterthought or a pre-thought or a thought about the thought. But we're praying for you guys. We're hoping for you guys. We're believing for this community of faith to keep growing up and to keep being a blessing well beyond the epicenter of this place.
Hit the share button right now and pass on some hope to someone else.